What's up guys? Welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. For today's video, we're going to test and review this Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX for Sony mount. So without further ado, let's get started. Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX was announced by Sigma way back here 2012 and is made for mirrorless camera. It was launched together with the 19mm f2.8. Both lenses are made for micro four thirds and Sony E-mount. This lens I'm going to test is the Sony E-mount version, mounted on a Sony camera. The lens provides an equivalent field of view of 45mm. This lens is a small and light with matte black finish. It is mostly made of plastic components weighing only 128 grams with plastic 46mm filter thread and a metal lens mount. Now we're going to test this Sigma 30mm 2.8 EX when it comes to portrait shooting. Let's see how this lens performs in portrait shooting when it comes in sharpness and bokeh. So let's begin. So now we're going to check the photos taken from this lens. I'm using a Sony a6500 to take this photo and I'm using the mobile app as a remote. So the setup, I put the camera on the tripod and I use the mobile phone app to trigger the camera. So we can check this first photo. So as you can see from this photo, the image background blur is quite nice, especially if you do a portrait like half body. When it comes to sharpness, it's really very sharp one, as you can see on my face. Although I'm using the mobile remote, the camera still can focus on my face, and then the background blur is very nice. So in this photo, I'm using a aperture priority. The ISO is 200. So as you can see, the bokeh is quite nice and it's very sharp. Then the next photo is this one. The bokeh is about the same, so the photo is also very sharp, as you can see on my face. Same settings, no edit. Then we check the other photo. So this is the background blur you will get at this distance. Then we can see the sharpness is still very sharp. Okay, then we can check this another photo. So you can see here, I move closer to the camera so that you can see how much blur you can get. So now compared to the previous one, I'm a bit further from the camera, then the bokeh is slightly little. Compared to this one, if you move closer, the bokeh is nicer, the background blur is nicer, and then the sharpness is still there, very sharp. You can see on my hair also, it's very sharp, this lens. Then we can see the other photo here, about the same distance. You can see the background blur here and here on the building. Then the last photo here, so you can see here the amount of background blur you will get. So this one, I'm very far from the lens, from the camera, so you still get a bit of background blur. So this is just a typical portrait shot lah. So you will get the idea how much how much image quality you can get. The sharpness also very sharp, as you can see on my face. That day is very hot, so I'm sweating. So you can see on the building background, yeah, the image is very good. Okay, so that's the sample images taken from this lens. So from these photos, you can get the idea on how much background blur you will get. Depends on how much farther away your distance from the lens. The closer you get, the better the background blur or bokeh you can achieve. At f2.8 maximum aperture, the lens produces enough background blur or bokeh. The bokeh produced are very good and sufficient suitable for portrait shots. With a focal length of 30mm and f2.8 aperture, this lens can compete in the field when it comes to portrait shooting. The Sigma 30mm f2.8 is very sharp indeed, even when used wide open at f2.8, especially at infinity focus. It's not tack sharp corner to corner at that aperture, but it offers a large area of central sharpness with only light corner softness. There are improvements to both corner and central sharpness at f4 and f5.6, where it achieves maximal sharpness. Sharpness actually drops off slightly at f11, but there's no noticeable impact. The lens can step down as small as f22, where overall image sharpness is somewhat degraded. Although natively, this lens is not meant for macro shooting, but with the use of an adapter, it can do the job very well. This lens is very good in shooting macro when paired with a cheap macro lens adapter like the Renox DCR250. Although this adapter doesn't fit the lens front element filter thread, the macro shots are sharp and image quality is very good. So this is another point to consider for those budget conscious macro shooters. This lens uses an in-lens motor for autofocus, which is quick and quiet, taking under just a second to go from infinity to close focus. The lens front element does not move when focusing, so it's easier to handle with polarizer and filters. So that concludes our test with this Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX. Hope you liked this video and hope you learned something today. Please support this channel by giving a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.